Where are you at the moment?
I'm in North London.
Okay.
Yeah.
You live in London now, yeah?
Yeah. I was born in Plymouth, raised in Cornwall, and then hot-tailed it out of there to London about 10 years ago.
Yeah, good stuff. Just been listening to the album.
Oh, great.
Checking on the timings of it and when you recorded it. When did you record it, and when did you envisage actually releasing the album? Bearing in mind COVID and lockdown and everything.
God, I mean, we started recording it in January 2020. The plan is it was going to come out September 2020, and through a combination of us taking a lot longer than we had anticipated to actually finish the record, and COVID, that all kind of pushed things back quite a lot, really. Yeah, I mean, one of the main things with COVID delaying its really boring reason is just that the pressing plants were all closed. So by the time we gave them a record to go, here you are, can you make this for us? They had a huge year-long backlog.
Yeah.
So a lot of things like that. But yeah, we also overran by quite a long time.
So you were overrunning in the initial lockdown?
Yes. So obviously, we started recording in January, and everything was normal, hunky-dory.
Yeah.
And then we locked down. We were in Belgium, in Brussels, and we locked down, I think, 3 weeks before the UK did. So yeah, for the rest of the period, we were locked into the studio.
Yeah, good stuff. So do you all live in London now, the whole band?
Everyone bar Joel, the drummer. Joel lives in Hastings.
Oh, does he? Okay.
Yeah, he grew up in. Yeah, well, he grew up in Surrey and kind of always was a commuter to London. Never fancied living there, so
no.
Yeah, he moved far away.
So, what is your approach? Is it still the same kind of approach? I know that you and Ellie were a duo to begin with, and then when the band got going, it was more of a band thing, basically, a 4-piece band, all contributing. But how do songs work their way from the beginnings to the end? Is it
all sorts of ways, really. And I think not having a set way kind of gives us a lot of scope to make things that sound fresh. I think if your process is the same, I think you are in danger of creating a product which is pretty similar time and time again, really.
Yeah.
So it will be sometimes someone writes a song and it is literally 80% there. And sometimes it's a riff, sometimes it's a couple of bars of music, sometimes it's us jamming something in a room together and then kind of getting the whiteboard out and starting workshopping lyrics and stuff. So all sorts, really. So I mean, from that point, we usually, if we're making a record, we will all work individually over a period of time, throw all the ideas into a big kind of cloud kind of thing, a Dropbox or a Google Drive or whatever it is, get into a rehearsal room and go, all right, I like that one, I like that one, I like that one, let's play these, let's see how they feel. You might start with 60 and then you have 40 and then you have, you make a demo of all of them and then you have 30 and then, you kind of whittle down and you're always kind of making amendments as you go. And the ones that kind of make it to the end are the ones that make it onto the record. Yeah.
What I'm struck about your band, Wolf Alice, is how diverse and eclectic it is. And there's a lot of very different things going on in terms of mood and energy and space and dynamics and so forth. With a lot of bands, you could say, well, that sounds like them, that sounds like Royal Blood, or that sounds like Mumford & Sons, you just kind of know almost straight away. But with you guys, I don't get that. And that's not a criticism. I feel that that's an amazing strength, actually, because you've done so well, and people kind of have embraced this idea of kind of diversity within the music that you make. And some of the songs on this album, the one that was released a couple of days ago, I can't remember the name of it.
No Hard Feelings.
Yes. I've got a radio show and I played it and I said, well, would you believe that was Wolf Alice? If you hadn't heard that song before, would you have known that was Wolf Alice? And I don't know how you see it. I mean, I know that you like the idea of kind of maybe having some kind of Wolf Alice DNA or something, or some kind of imprint on your music, but it is very eclectic.
Yeah, I mean, I think it's eclectic to a degree, if you know what I mean. I think it is eclectic within the alternative pop rock umbrella, if you understand what I mean. I think we're not doing reggae and jazz and classical and whatever. Honestly, I don't know. It's just always something we've done, and it's always something that we've not really been bothered too much about. I think some people at the beginning of our career, I remember A&Rs when we were talking to record labels for the first time, were kind of confused, going, "Well, what are you? What's your thing?"
Yeah. And
I'm kind of really proud that we could kind of carve out a niche as the band that kind of do what they want.
Yeah. No, it certainly hasn't held you back. On this particular album, for instance, you've got Play the Greatest Hits, which I've only just heard, this morning, and quite a raucous, high energy, kind of almost punky kind of tune, isn't it? And kind of comes out of nowhere, that one. Safe from Heartbreak, If You Never Fall in Love, is almost the opposite. It's kind of almost a cappella, lots of voices going in there.
I mean, look, we write songs about, we kind of write, songs based on embellished versions of our own reality, really, on our own lives. And I think the music is a reflection of that. And, we don't feel one thing. All four of us don't, feel one single emotion over a couple year period. Everyone's angry at one point, everyone's sad at some point, everyone's all the kind of things in between. So the writing is really a reflection of that, and just each song tries to capture that sonically and musically.
And it's the album's bookended by the beach, and then the beach 2. What was the thinking behind that?
Somewhat of a happy accident, to be honest. The beach, as it was called, without a numerical reference, as there was no beach 2 at the time, was its own thing, the album opener. And we had a song called OK, which turned into the beach 2, which was kind of on the fringe of making the record. Usually we'll go in with 2 or 3 more than we know we will record. And Ellie, in a bit of downtime, we had 2 studios on the go, basically. We had kind of like the main tracking room that stuff was going on, and we had another room where we had a computer set up and a bunch of instruments that we could kind of be doing other things, writing, just exploring bits of music. And she came in and she went, "Oh, I've rewritten the words to that song." We went, "Oh, okay, cool, we'll have a listen." And it was just really interesting because it's the same, it's the same place, it shares the same geographical position, but it's, it's sharing a lot of the themes of the beach one, but in a more hopeful way. And kind of my reading of it now is, you start in this fairly morbid place on the beach, in the beach one, kind of a bit desperate and a bit lonely, a bit blue.
Yeah.
And, then you go through this adventure throughout the record, as you do in life, these ups and downs. And you come out at the beach 2, at the place where you started from, but a lot more kind of grateful, a lot happier, a lot, a lot changed, almost like a state of catharsis through it.
Yeah.
From one point to the other.
Yeah, there seems to be a sort of a sense. I get a strong sense that it is quite cathartic. A lot of the music lyrics, obviously, Ellie's lyrics, I take it 100%. He's the only writer of lyrics for Wolf Alice. Is that right?
People do write lyrics. It's the only problem is Ellie's a lot better than us. So
okay. I think the album title "Blue Weekend" is a sort of a reference to that kind of idea, isn't it? Of being how songs can kind of evoke feelings. And
I think it plays on the ambiguity of the word blue, really, and that all of these are kind of things that could happen over a weekend. All of these events, they're not, they're not so fantastical, really, when you boil them down and think what are they really about. I think they're pretty relatable, and all things that might be a pretty jam-packed weekend, but that could happen over the thing. And
sure.
Whether they're sad or happy, however you take it, is kind of your choice, really.
And just about the working methods for this particular album, was there any difference how you approached it? I mean, I think you're working with a different producer this time around, aren't you? Or
yes.
You? And was it a completely different experience for you guys, or
It's always a different experience working with different people. Producers, it's an interesting one. Producers kind of don't really have one job.
Good stuff. So I guess you haven't done any live. Have you done any live gigs? I mean, in front of an audience since?
Not in front of it. No, sadly, not in front of an audience.
No.
We had Glastonbury, and we've done. We did Radio One big weekend. A Jules Holland, but nothing in front of an audience, unfortunately.
So you've had maybe a bit more time than you would normally have. How have you been filling it? I mean, you had the album in the can.
You know what? We've been kind of busy, really. I mean, we've been ploughing into rehearsals because it's one of the only things that we can be doing. And we're playing with a keyboard player at the moment, which is really brilliant. A guy called Ryan Malks, who used to play in a band called Superfood. We made a music video for every song on the album. But yeah, I mean, there's undoubtedly been a lot more kind of thumb twiddling than there usually is. We'd be all over the world at this point, but we've been fairly stationary, which has been odd.
Very odd.
Odd and interesting. Yeah, we are so excited to get out and play. So whenever we can, if Latitude is happening, fingers crossed.
Yeah, fingers crossed.
The green light.
Everything crossed. What is the first gig?
Latitude. Headlining Latitude.
Okay, cool. That's in July, is it? Or August?
End of July, yeah.
End of July. Well, that will be one, if that, everything goes to plan, that will be one hell of a celebration, won't it?
God, wouldn't it? It would be incredible. I can't think of any better way to kind of get back into it than a festival.
Yeah, how was the Glastonbury experience? Because you did a performance site itself, I think.
Yes, we did. We played at the Stone Circle.
Yeah.
That was brilliant. Yeah, it was absolutely fantastic. It was lovely to play up there. Kind of unique experience to be able to play in that place. Pain in the arse that the whole thing crashed when we were on. Being first on at 7 o'clock. Yeah.
I didn't realise that.
The website's crashed for 2 hours.
I knew that, but I didn't know it was when you were on.
Yeah, I know. So that was a bit of a pain in the arse, but they all got it rectified in the end.
It's just a joy to be able to talk about gigs again. Lots of people are booking tours and shows, and I think people are just absolutely desperate now to go out and see a live show. So
yeah,
I hope you guys are as well.
God, anything. I'll take anything.
Yeah. Finally, obviously, it's been a hell of a journey. I mean, I spoke to you about the time of the first album, and you gave me the lowdown on the background. Where how you came through. Basically, you and Ellie were duo and playing sort of open mics and stuff like that, and then it sort of just transformed and went from that to this. Did you ever reflect on those days? And were you thinking, I really want to do an open mic because I'm not in any shows at the moment, or something like that?
I'd do it. Yeah, I'd be happily do an open mic. Yeah, fantastic.
Yeah.
Yeah, I often look back with very fond memories of that time. We were doing what we were doing, I think, because people kind of say it was a folk thing. And, maybe it was, but we were more or less doing that because we owned an acoustic guitar.
Yeah.
And a tambourine and a glockenspiel. So that's what we used, I think.
Yeah.
But I think ultimately that was kind of like the perfect training, really, because if you're playing those kind of songs, you can't hide behind any gimmick, any flashing light or kind of drum beat or anything like that. The song has to be right from the start. So I think that was pretty formative for us.